a fish here from the It Came from GenX podcast. On this week's episode, a Fall Guy movie is being made. We talk about some of our favorite and least favorite movies based on TV shows. We remember Jules Bass, who passed away recently, one of the producers of the beloved Rankin-Bass holiday specials we grew up with in our generation. Also, world news, some tragic deaths overseas due to large crowds. And as normal, sports talk, this day in music history, this week in pop culture history, and much more Gen X talk, memories, rants, and of course, insults.
Here we go again.
This is an It Came from GenX video.
Hey everybody, it's time for It Came from GenX. The train ride through life, love, and the pursuit of happiness alongside Michael Skinner, Brian Fisher, and I am Keith Porter. We are your hosts for this lovely, I don't want to put a time limit on it. Let's just say time. How can we say that? And we are good to be back coming to you on Boss Code Media, also other social media outlets. But we are proud to be part of the Boss Code family. So we want to say much love. Shout out to you, Des, the reason. So, guys, it's been a while. Michael Skinner, a.k.a. Skinbone, my brother, so good to see you. How you doing, man?
Finally on the backside of being sick, doing well. Family all got COVID for the second time. Even grandkids tested positive. So it's been a rough couple weeks, but
That's rough.
Everything is good to go. We're back and excited for the show tonight.
Well, we're glad to see you, but obviously you weren't feeling well enough to clean your wall. I don't know if the dog kicked that up there, some crap up on your wall. So
that's Ohio State Buckeyes blackout jersey. What are you talking about?
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought that was a Browns jersey.
No. Not tonight. That's next week.
Okay, all right. Had to take my shot. Fishbone, what's up, brother?
How are you, man? So tomorrow, so we're shooting this on Halloween evening, gentlemen.
Yes, we are.
And
is that why you have a mask on?
Yes.
I didn't know.
Yes, I'm wearing a Clark Gable mask this evening. Yep. I don't know why it's the first name popped in my head. So tomorrow is my lovely girlfriend Allie's birthday. So this past weekend we went out for just a terrific time. Well, I'll give a shout out here to, if you're in the Northeast Ohio area, down in little Zor, Ohio, a little historical village about 15 minutes south of Canton, Ohio. Donnie's Tavern. So she just found them online, heard some good things. We went down there. It's like in a historical building. I tell you what, man, it's one of the just a nice little quaint area, beautiful down there.
I went there and stayed in a hotel overnight to get away.
The Zor Hotel, that's right there.
Down 77 South.
Yep, that's right.
Dairy Queen's on the right. Dairy Queen's on the right. Hotel's on the left. Yep. And I went to stay in that hotel. It was so peaceful. Walked through the cemetery. Walked through the town. Loved it.
Yeah, very nice. So, Donnie's Tavern, I tell you what, it had some of the best food we've had in quite a while. It was a beautiful display, great service, a little upscale food and everything, but that was perfect for her birthday. Went out and did a few other things. Went hiking on Sunday. Just a great quality time weekend with her. So happy birthday, my love, Allie, if you're listening to this when this airs. So, yep.
Absolutely. Well, nothing too good for Allie, right? Happy birthday to the lovely Allie. Don't get to see as much as I like, but just a wonderful, wonderful girl. And we're really happy for you. So,
thank you.
Hey, Keith Porter's got a love life.
Yeah. I was going to ask you how that went.
Yes. Can you believe that? And she's not 73.
That's good.
I don't know how that happened. So I just want to say shout out to our new listener. She's a new fan of the show. She loves the show. So big shout out to June Fitzpatrick. Just been an awesome few weeks with her. A fantastic human being, funniest person I've met in a long time, and just as lovely as can be. So I'm your buddy is smitten, as they say.
That's great.
All
Good for you,
right.
man. All that despite the fact she's a Cleveland Browns fan, I
She
hear.
is
Yes.
a Cleveland. We've had many of exchanges about this. Let's just say that. It was so funny how when we first met, everything was going great. We had all these things in common, and of course, when we became Facebook friends, I'm stalking her page, she's stalking mine, and it like happened at the same time. She called me. She goes, "We got a problem." I said, "Yeah, I already know. I just saw it." And she was like, "What do we do?" I was like, "I don't know." So yeah, it's been cool though. As far as Browns fans go, I'll take this one. So,
All right. Well, we are
yeah.
very happy for you, brother.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it. It's been a while, and I'm very excited. All right, guys. We've been away for a while. All kinds of crazy stuff has happened, but we just try to stay current. But some things we gotta bring up because it's just too juicy to let go. And before we do that, Fish, tell them where they can find the show.
All right. Thank you, sir. So you might be listening to us on demand on your favorite podcast platforms. We're on many of those: Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, iHeart Music, Amazon Music, Overcast, and more. So wherever you listen to podcasts, just look for the It Came from GenX podcast. Give us a follow or subscribe. And as we publish new episodes most weeks, but we do publish an episode every week, it'll pop in your podcast feed for you free of charge. Listen to us on the go, wherever the heck you're doing. You can watch us, as Keith already mentioned, on the Boss Code Media TV network. Just pull up their app on your smart TV or your mobile device and download and subscribe. And we are on there on our very own channel. It Came from GenX channel. You can see some of our video segments of the show there, and also videos from a lot of other creative people across the country and some unique content. I think Des the Reason just published a new music video that he shot down in Canton, Ohio, exclusive to Boss Code Media. Check them out, and you can also find us on our YouTube channel. Full episodes are there, and various video segments there too. Links to all of our social media can be found in two main places. Just pull up our Linktree account. Simply Google Linktree. It Came from GenX. It's simply a link to our page, rather, with links to our social media and our website. It came from genx.wordpress.com. All show information is there. Links to where you can listen to us, links to new episodes, links to videos, bios, and ways you can support the show, all on the website. One thing you can do to help us out is simply like, follow, share, tell others, and we appreciate your support out there. Thank you very much.
All right, thanks a lot. Hey, Skinner, this world is so crazy. There's always something going on, but we only got so much time. But it is time for some world news. It's been a long time, my brother, so take it away.
It is one that's hitting pretty hard over the last couple weeks is the Supreme Court justices are going to be hearing a case based on some possible admissions violations for the College of Harvard and the University of North Carolina. Two very, very opposite schools. Harvard, obviously, one of the top Ivy League schools, top colleges in the entire world. University of North Carolina, basically known as a sports school. The courts are being challenged to hear of admissions policies, which consider race among many factors when evaluating applications. The policies are designed to boost the number of Black and Hispanic students and are intended to ensure minority groups are fairly represented in these schools across the country. What's happening is they're weighing in as to whether there are discriminatory or civil law violations for these two schools. They are required to have a decision by the end of the first quarter of July 2023. My first thought is, why is race even a part of the admissions for any school across the country, especially local schools, public or state schools that have no private means? Private schools, maybe so. You know, you've got a lot of predominantly black schools down south. You got some, I guess, schools up north that are predominantly white. But why is race even considered a factor when it comes to a student's grades, transcripts, academics, and their overall body of work? What have they done? You know, I don't understand why this is even going on today. First I've heard of it was just a couple days ago, and it really got me burning a little bit as to, you know, why race is even involved in the admissions. If you've got a 4.0, an IQ of over, what's the IQ? Over 150, and your SATs and your ACT scores are off the charts, you should be able to go to any school across the country or in the world, no matter if you're black, white, purple, or green. It doesn't matter what your color is. I know Keith's going to have some things to say about this. I know Fisher's got some strong ones too. So I'm going to bow out and let you guys go ahead.
Sorry, what's the case? Is it, people saying that because you have to admit so many minorities that some people can't get in who maybe have better or higher grades or something like that? Is that the case?
It's being looked at that they're not using affirmative action laws and with their admissions. So they're discriminating against the Hispanics and the black folks.
Also, kids can't get in.
They're not able to get into these schools based on their race, no matter what their academic background is.
I see. Okay.
So they're looking to see if these schools have discriminatory or they have violated civil laws.
Okay.
And Keith's just shaking his head. Go ahead, brother. Have at it.
It would really take a whole show to just even begin to unfold all this. I remember when I was 18 years old, my first experience with the race quota thing, the affirmative action thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember how it made me feel. And it didn't make me feel good. And I call it the Noah's Ark syndrome. I was 17, 18 years old. I think I was 17. And I needed a job really bad. And my friend was a packer at Acme, the old Acme #1 on Waterloo. And he kept telling me, dude, just come up there, man. You got a job. I'm like, you sure? He goes, I guarantee you'll get hired. I'm like, how can you guarantee me? He was so positive. Well, I went up there and I got the job. And there was another black packer there. And everything was great. After a while, that other black packer, we're the only two black guys there, he quit. The next guy that got hired was black. He quit after a while. The next guy was black. A white guy quit. Next guy that hired was white. When I quit, I'll never forget going up to get my last check and saw my replacement, and he was black. And I found out what the deal was. I forget who admitted it to me. Is that the law told them they have to have at least 2 black packers. Really. For a person like me, who had an outstanding work record since I was 15 years old, was in college, applying myself, it made me feel really stupid. It made me feel like, really? I'm just a quota. I got this job because of a quota. I don't mind getting the job, but it makes me feel like my self-worth was just a number. You know what I'm saying? When I left the job, you could put any moron in my spot as long as he looked like me. So that being said, I certainly don't like sometimes playing devil's advocate here, if you will. Sometimes they track race because they have to see where they're failing. All right, are we failing bringing up more minorities and helping them out? You know, in the academic area. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes it's because of what I just told you. It's that Noah's Ark thing. You got to have so many minorities. Sometimes you have to have so many minorities to receive government grants and funding. And that's just as shameful. And as much as I understand affirmative action and I can appreciate where it came from, I want it abolished, but it can't be abolished until you give equal opportunity under the law starting at the elementary level. I'm tired of going around. Let's just take high schools. You know, I used to go to my son who played for Cuyahoga Falls, all his high school football games. And in the division they were in, they played Stowe and some of all these other teams. And I'm telling you, it was better than Cleveland Brown Stadium. I went out to Stowe, man, this brand new field, and the scoreboard, they had a big bulldog helmet, and the team ran out of it. It was unbelievable. It's like being in freaking Heinz Field or Municipal Stadium or Cleveland Brown Stadium or something. First Energy said, I'm like, what? Then we go up here to play North, and it's just dirt and gravel back there. You know? No scoreboard. That's a shame that kids have to think this is all they are. This is all they're worth. And how do you feel when you go play a team like Stowe and you see all that, and then you come back and you can't even get a good scoreboard, you know, or decent field? It's really shameful, you know, and it's hurtful. So as much as I appreciate affirmative action, I want it gone, but it can't be gone till you start at the lowest level and say, you know what, we got to give everybody equal opportunity to get the best education they can get.
Mm-hmm.
I could go on forever on this, man. So great subject.
Yeah, I'm just kind of like, you know, like you said earlier, Skinner. I mean, first of all, the best grades should give one the opportunity to get to the best schools. Having said that, if you have kids that have similar accomplishments, right, then it's not, I don't want to say a tiebreaker, but then you have to make sure that all are represented in your facility. You know what I'm saying? So that's just how I think about it. So
yeah,
I don't know.
And that's true, Fisher, and that's great. The only problem is, and if you're a black person and you don't have the decency to think about this, then you're wrong. What about that white kid who may not have a racist bone in their body, who has worked their butt off?
Yeah.
And gets slighted of an opportunity. Now, I don't want to get too boohoo for them because I'm sorry, if you don't think there's such thing as white privilege, you're a freaking moron. It exists in everyday life, so you'll be okay. But I'm just saying, we got to start making it fair for everybody as much as possible. Yeah, I think we should do it like that so everybody's represented. So, but it's always on the lowest level that we do these type of things. Like somebody asked Deion Sanders the other day, and we'll talk more about him later, about more black coaches in the NFL. And they're like, why are we always talking about this? Why can't we get some more black owners in the NFL? That's the club that they keep exclusive, won't let nobody in, you know? Why can't we have more black NFL owners? They block everyone that tries to buy a football team. And then maybe we'll start seeing some of this equality, and you can say it's fair. Just a thought.
Yes, Skinner, what do you think?
I pretty much summed it up before I let the reins go for you guys.
Okay.
I hate the fact that there is affirmative action, and I hate it for both sides of the spectrum. I hate the fact that, you know, if you're a black woman and you go up for a job versus any other race and any other gender, because of the affirmative action, she already has a leg up on everybody else. She could be the best employee in the world, and if she earned that job, it doesn't matter that she's black and it doesn't matter that she's female. If her credentials fits her to have that job, absolutely love it. But if you're putting her in that position because she's black and because she's a woman, and there's is a female, doesn't matter, it could be a female of any race, or a male, a black male, white male, doesn't matter. If she's in that position because of a freaking quota, it is absolutely wrong. And it needs, like Keith said, it needs to go away. But equality across the board has to happen on its own. It can't be because of this,
And how about when you put somebody in the position because of their skin color and they're not ready for it? You set them up to fail.
Well, yeah, I mean, that happens all the time.
Because
You know,
the
you put somebody
repercussions
that's
of
not qualified in there just because of their color of their skin, or because of their gender, and it's wrong.
Not only do they fail, but then there's always those people standing looking, going, "See, told you." You know, I see it all the time in the NFL.
Huh?
They'll give the black coach. They'll give the black coach the job, especially in college. They'll give them the job of a team that's completely decimated and falling apart in a year and a half when they can't do anything. But they've gotten some great recruits, and they bring in some guy who reaps the benefits. I see it all the time. It happens. You set people up for failure, but oh well. Like I said,
so affirmative action needs to go away, but everything has to change up front, and it has to start at the very young age, like you said.
That's where it's going to start.
Real quick,
I'll just say for this podcast here. That's right. So when the three of us applied, we all got in as the lowest IQ at the time. They did not look at race or sex or nothing. So that's how we got this job. So it just happened to work out. So
yeah, they just went to the bottom of the barrel. I don't know which position we were in. I don't know who was last, next to last, or next to last, but we were at the bottom of the barrel.
Look at these three jabronis, and we'll let them do something. Not sure what that something is, but let us do something, right?
Yeah, that's right. Great subject, man. You got anything else for us, Skinner?
Yeah. Over in Morbi, India, did you guys hear about that suspension bridge that collapsed?
I saw the story. And the first thing I said was, I hope this is not a real news story that I just saw flash across my screen.
Well, the frightening thing is there's actual video footage of it happening. And it sent chills down my spine. I'm not going to lie. The first question I had is, this bridge was built back in the late 1800s by a British firm. And I'm not quite sure of the area, but it crosses one of the rivers in, like I said, in Morbi, India. My first question was, and excuse me, folks, I'm still trying to get over this cough, and I apologize. They said there was upwards of 200 pedestrians on this bridge at the time it collapsed. The first question is why the hell are there so many people on this bridge crossing a river? I have not gotten that answer, and I keep looking for stories. Now, up to 3 hours prior to me seeing the story, they had confirmed 133 people killed, and 145 people were found and brought to hospitals for some minor injuries, others, fighting for their lives. So why was there so many people on this bridge? And I guess it's because of the amount of people and the weight on this bridge is why it failed. And I just got that. And then you think back about 2 weeks ago for a Halloween crowd that had a surge and killed 115 people in Seoul, South Korea. They were there for some kind of Halloween festivities, and something happened. Guns were fired, something happened, and all of a sudden there was a stampede of people, and 150 people were killed. So my question to you guys is, this is two different areas of the world, same scenario, just in different locations. Why is this stuff happening? We can go to soccer stadiums. People go to these soccer stadiums across the country, and if the stadiums collapse, or these bars and taverns across the country that got these decks and things for people to be outside, and these decks are falling. Why is this happening today? But today's technology and today's work, is it the work ethic of today, or is it people not, these inspectors not doing their jobs? What is causing all this problem? Because this is becoming a phenomenon, in my opinion. to have this happen. And there was another scenario back on October 1st where another 150 people got killed in an area. I don't have that written down, but this is 3 incidences within 2 weeks.
Oh, there's so many more. Go ahead, Fish.
I'll just say, I know for India, I mean, we have, we work with business partners over that way. It's just every story here, it's just such a highly congested. There's parts of India that's just very highly congested of people. It's just, and their infrastructure and their planning and everything just really isn't there. It's just too many people trying to get to places at the same time. It's just, and they just don't have the means to handle it. Just so, I mean, could and should something change to prevent something like that? Sure. I mean, it's, they should have some type of a warning. They should have some type of controls out there so you don't have too many people in one place at the same time. But no easy answer over there, because it's just, like I said, it's just a lot of issues. I hear that, the driving, for instance, over there, it's just a nightmare because it's just so many. It's too many people trying to get to places, and you have to be super aggressive just to get anywhere. It's not very safe. It's just a whole thing over there. So they would just need to try to focus on, if adding more resources or means to control the human traffic a little bit more to try to avoid something like that in the future. The South Korea one, that seemed to be just poor planning for the Halloween festivities. They said that they had officers out there, but more for safety and not crowd control. And then obviously something like this happens and people got crushed because too many people were trying to move through that small alleyway or something like that. So it just seems like poor planning from the local government or whatever whatever that was down there. So I don't know. I think it's just two similar incidents. Very unfortunate, obviously. But it seemed like two different problems in those parts of the world. So, Keith, what do you think?
Well, while Skinner was kind of wrapping up, I watched the video. Pretty horrific.
It is horrific, isn't it?
And I'm gonna go another way with it, because Skinner mentioned other things like soccer games and stuff like that. This has happened. I don't know what it is about us as human beings. We get this frenzy thing about us being in big crowds or whatever. And I'm not going to judge. Good Lord. Browns got like 13 people on the field. Our Bengals. But anyway, I'm not going to judge because I've been there. I used to tell my mom, I like the big crowds, lots of people. I used to be like that. Being a musician, of course, I was used to it. But I used to just love being in the big crowds. And I don't know what it was that changed me. I think I was at a Seven Dust concert one time and out at Nautica. And you guys all remember my ex-wife, Mary Ann. She fell.
Mm-hmm.
And it was the scariest thing ever to me because with all my strength, I was like useless trying to move that many people. And she was on the ground, and I thought she was about to get trampled to death. And this man out of nowhere just picked her up. I mean, he saved her life. That thing scared me so because I was just getting moved, knocked every which way. And I thought I was about to lose her. That was the most horrific moment. And I think, I don't know, ever since then, I don't understand all these, Black Friday people and, getting up 5 a.m. to go shopping and running in the store, running each other over, trying to get deals. I don't understand this mentality. And we have it in sporting events and other events, too. People like to pack into all these places. I was just watching last week when Tennessee beat Alabama. And, when the camera's back, it looks like an incredible scene when everybody bum rushed the field. But if you ever see any close-up footage, and I've seen it on YouTube, there are people who get jacked up, man. It's just insanity. Or you see these groups of people, and like, remember the draft a couple of years ago, all the people up the street? It was so many people. What if you're in the middle of that and you got to go to the bathroom or you get sick? So I don't like crowds like that no more. I try to stay out of the middle of things that I can't control. But people still have that mentality, and I won't judge because I've been there. I used to be like that. But I think that mentality, you know, whether somebody's giving away something free, whether it's a sporting event, a championship celebration, or whatever it is, people love to pack in, and they don't think about their safety. They think all the apparatus, every stadium, every stair is just going to hold them up. And it's just not real smart.
Interesting views, and like I said, I've built up. You know, our hearts go out to the families of these people, and all these incidences.
Yeah,
and
sure.
And people just need to use common sense. Common sense nowadays is lost art, and I don't know why it's gone, but it needs to come back in a lot of these cases. So, well, fellas, that's all I got. I appreciate your candor on these stories. Some pretty heavy stuff, but like you said, we could probably go on for hours in each one of these.
Yeah.
But we got a lot more to go, so we'll move it on to some sports and music.
All right, a little bit of sports and music. Okay, guys, the sports world has been interesting. Obviously, the football world, it's been bittersweet for yours truly here. My Pittsburgh Steelers, man, really struggling. Worse than we thought they would. You know, I know JT Watt's been out, but even still. But, you know, there's been some bright spots. You look at the Miami game, could have won it, should have won it. You cannot get 4 interceptions in your mitts and drop them on the road against a good team like that. 1 touchdown, we won the game. So that's positive. We did beat a Tampa Bay team. We did beat a Buffalo team. But that's really been hard for me. But our Ohio State Buckeyes, I love what I've seen the last 2 weeks, other than the play calling. I could have killed Ryan Day Saturday for that play calling. But I love the adjustments I saw the last 2 weeks. So, but the biggest sports story, guys, our own beloved Tom Brady, TB12. Man, I don't think anybody saw this coming. I didn't anyway. When I first heard it, I thought it was rumor, but obviously it is true. He and longtime wife Gisele Bundchen, supermodel. I don't know what supermodel means. You model in the daytime and fight crime at night, but are heading for divorce court. And it makes sense in retrospect when you look at Tom seems to be coming apart at the seams on the football field, in his game, in his reactions with his teammates. And I wasn't so much going to report on that, and I'm certainly not making fun of anybody going through divorce. That is a painful, horrible thing. But I was laughing at the fact that when Tom Brady got to Tampa Bay, and in his I don't want to say conspiracy, but in his effort with the coaching staff and management staff to bring every single Pro Bowl player to Tampa Bay that they could, which they seem to have endless money to do it. I don't know how that happened. He wanted Antonio Brown so bad he moved the man into his house. And we found a lot of humor in that. Week by week, we were reporting, we were talking about how's he ever going to get him out, whatever. But here it is, guys. They're going through divorce, and guess who's trolling Tom Brady with pictures of him and his wife? Antonio Brown. There's an old saying, guys, don't ever bring another rooster into the hen house. I'm sorry. If you're a man and you need a place to stay, and I just live with me and my woman, you ain't staying with me. I just don't do it. And woman, don't let no woman in the house with your man, and you're gone. It's just don't do it. And I just gotta wonder, because the whole thing didn't make sense to us. Why would you let a man who's a multimillionaire, who just signed another big contract, why does he need a place to stay? I never understood that. I would love to ask Tom, why was it necessary to move him into your house? Now he's trolling you with pictures of his wife with her arms wrapped around you and things like that. So I just got to ask a question. Do you think there's anything to this at all? Fish?
No, I don't think between her and Antonio Brown. No, but I think it's more just what it seems to be, and uh, they probably talked about retiring, focusing on family, focusing on their relationship. That's what it seems to be. And he decided, no, I'm going to go back and play football. And she didn't like it. And it's causing a lot of problems. And I mean, he's not going to, it's impacting a little bit of his legacy. Certainly, years from now, you don't remember this last year as much, but it's, like you say, it's definitely impacting him. That's what I think it is. She wanted him to focus on their relationship with their family, and he said, nah. He made football a priority, and I'm sure that did not go too well. And here we are.
You would have thought that they had better conversations prior to this season on that subject. Her letting it be known how she felt about it. Tom is a preparer. He's well prepared, and it seems like he's been blindsided by this. I don't understand how you guys did not talk about this and have a clear understanding of where you were going at this. Skinner, do you think Tom will quit after this year? Is he done? Is he going to go out like this, or what do you think?
I don't think they're going to ask him back if this continues down the road that they're going. I saw the first signs of problems when they did invite AB into his house.
Mm-hmm.
That's, to me, that was a big red flag right at the very beginning. With all that baggage that AB has, I just can't imagine. All the stories that you hear is these wholesome family between Giselle and Tom and their kids. They've got the perfect happy family, and then you're going to have somebody like AB invited into your home.
Yeah, well, there's no such thing as a perfect happy family anyway.
But that was the portrayal. They portrayed that this was this big.
Why does he need a place to stay? And why?
That's a great question.
And why would you want your own privacy? Why you got to go stay at Tom's house? That whole thing just reeks, dude.
It does, and I don't know that Tom comes back after this. I don't think he's asked back, and I don't know that.
It's a good point.
No, it's done. Point. It's done. Yep, it's done.
You guys know my feelings towards Tom Brady, especially over the last 3-4 years. He just needs to go. He's another one that just needs to go away, retire, and reap the benefits of his long, illustrious career.
Yep. Sign a TV contract. What he's going to do, and just do that.
Right.
Wow. Okay. Well, we'll keep out on that, and I wish so well. Like I said, divorces is nothing I wish on anybody, especially when you have a family and kids are involved. And I hope that they can save their marriage. When you're a competitor like that, especially you've done it that long, man, it is hard to walk away. So I don't want to judge, but nothing would be worth my family, especially when you got all the money in the world. Dude, just go away, man, and enjoy life on a level that very few people can. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
I don't understand it. I get it. You're a competitor. Forget that crap. Nothing would be more important to me than my children, and certainly no more important than my wife. But I can't judge you. Okay, guys. Music. Been a while, 2 weeks. So I'll just start off with this day in music. I just can't believe how time has flown. But this day, guys, in 1996, Slash left Guns N' Roses. I can't believe it's been that long. And you talk about a band not the same. Now they're back together now, but it's just the whole your peak is over with. You know what I mean? Nobody cares as much. But when he left that band, they were just a whole different group. I didn't see very much of them. When I did, it was like, who are these people? Slash.
I don't remember anything they did back then. Barely. They did like Chinese. Mm-hmm. I know. Okay, Buckethead. Yeah, Buckethead played with him for a minute.
That's right. Yeah.
I saw that concert. Now you said I did see Guns N' Roses with that lineup with Buckethead playing for them, and it was not a bad show. But he was a little kooky back then, though. Yeah. There were a lot of long dreadlocks and everything. I don't know. It was just
very
strange.
The whole dynamic of the band was changed,
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
And, June's probably going to strangle me for this, but that's one of the bands that I can't stand personally. Appetite for Destruction came out. I loved them. got tickets, went to a concert, waited for like 2 hours before they showed up. And when they
Yeah.
showed up,
Right.
Slash and Axl were so hammered. They played one opening song. Everybody went crazy. And then they started talking, telling some story about why they were late. And you couldn't understand a word they were saying. They were slurring and F and MF. And people go, yo, play a song. And they got mad and cursed everybody out and walked off the stage. And I started reading stories that they've done this over and over again to their fans. So I'm like, anybody who doesn't put their fans first, I have no respect for them. As me being a musician, that's horrible. So I've never liked that band since back then. Any thoughts on Guns N' Roses / Leaving Skinner?
Growing up, they were one of my favorite bands musically. You know, yeah, I didn't care for all the stories that I heard what they did to their fans, but that didn't alter me from listening to their music. Their music was phenomenal. It was one of a kind back then. But
yeah, it was different.
You know, but they were not the same without Slash. I mean, he was the band. You know, he went to Velvet Revolver after that. I absolutely loved their music
Velvet
too.
Revolver, yeah, they were great.
Yeah, you know, so to me, the common denominator was Slash in all this.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that was 1996, guys. I'm really gonna make you feel old now. How about this? In 1992, Boys to Men were at #1 with "End of the Road."
Oh wow!
So the Eddie Murphy's "The Boomerang" soundtrack. No doubt those guys could sing. Yeah. I thought Boys to Men was the freshest and closest thing to a modern day Temptations that we have. Much props to New Edition. I don't want to slight them, but I thought Boys to Men brought such a soulful character to soul R&B music that we hadn't had in a long time. Boys to Men fan, Skinner?
Absolutely. 1992, I was in the military, and one of the things you had to do was you had to do honor guard or color guard for a 90-day stint, and so I would go and we do the 21 gun salute, or folding of the flag, or carry pallbearers, what have you. One of the funerals we went to, they had the End of the Road on a replay that they buried with the individual, and that song. That song's got very different meanings for a lot of people, but it was such a huge, popular, soulful song. I don't know what else term to use.
But just we're here at the end of the road. That could be very benign or it could be very specific. Yeah.
Right. So that when I hear that song, it takes me back to when I was doing honor guard, but their music was one of a kind. They were just, like you said, they're the most modern type Temptations that we've seen since the 60s.
Them in New Edition. I don't think New Edition had the strong voices like Boys to Men did. Ralph Tresvant did a lot of the vocals, and they always had that kind of little boy sound to his voice. Of course, they got Johnny Gill later, who came with this strong voice. But I thought Boys to Men had the real strong, soulful voices. As a musician, I don't like people who roll all their notes. And it gets on my freaking nerve. Just sing. That's the only thing I didn't like about them. But Boys to Men fan, Fish.
Yeah, I like their stuff back then. Like you say, it was just I can't say much more about than you guys have already had, but just definitely talented guys. I mean, like I said, they sang so well together. It was wholesome songs. And that song in particular, I went through a big breakup at that at that time to a girl that I just shouldn't have lost, but I did. And that song had as extra meaning for me because I was like, oh, I'm sure I cried to that song back in that time. But but those guys are really good, very very talented for sure.
Okay, cool. Funny story, guys. 1990. I'm going backward even more. I never heard the story. Billy Idol did a gig in Seattle, Washington, and he dumped 600 dead fish in Faith No More's dressing room.
Oh, wow.
Faith No More responded by walking on stage naked during Billy Idol's set.
There you go.
This is one of the funnier band on tour stories I've heard in a long time. Guys, is there any stories you can think of off the cuff that you remember that stick out, that either funny, disgusting, or weird? I'm gonna give you a second to think about it, because I got to tell you one that I find just utterly, gosh, I don't want to be disgusting on the show, but this story circulated maybe 15 years ago, when a couple of girls were trying so hard to get backstage to see to meet Red Hot Chili Peppers. And of course, the Chili Peppers used to do their set in the tidy whitey underwear, and they go back in the dressing room for a little bit, drink whatever, calm down, and then take off. And these chicks fought so hard to get backstage. They finally got backstage an hour or so after the show. And when they got to the dressing room, Chili Peppers were gone. But in the corner, allegedly, Flea's tidy whities were in the corner. And this chick, I can't remember if it was a security guard said this or whatever, held it up and wrung out the underwear, drank it, and said, "Now he's a part of me forever."
Oh, good Lord.
I'm done, man. We got problems.
Some girl did that, Skinner, to Keith's leather chaps. I also heard back in the day.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Mhm.
Possibly.
Yes.
Mhm.
And they said this might be the year she come out of her coma.
Ah, okay.
There's high hopes.
There's hope yet.
Yes. So.
But she's never caught COVID.
Never.
It's I don't know. We need to do some studies there. But yeah.
Huh.
Mhm.
You guys got any stories you remember offhand?
I just remember you've heard about it. And it was portrayed in the Motley Crue book and the movie The Dirt. That whole thing with Ozzy Osbourne, him
Oh
kind
my
of
gosh! Yeah.
trying to outgrows Motley Crue. But when Ozzy got down and those ants were going across the swimming pool, and he snorted the string of ants out there in front of people by the public swimming pool. That's just, I mean, the poor man was on drugs and everything else, but the story is funny though. The other parts of it's disgusting, but that
I was going to say there's another part to that story too. Yeah,
snorting the ants is funny. Yeah.
Okay, guys. Oh my gosh. And we won't mention the other part of that story. Also, guys, just in music. I'm going backwards in time. Great Stevie Wonder. Volume 4 went to #1 on the UK charts. Stevie Wonder's still with us, man, making great music. I don't know he doesn't tour as much anymore, but just shout outs to him for all that he's done in music. I see names in here like Bob Geldof, and of course the whole Musicians for Famine thing got kicked off with Bob Geldof, which culminated in the USA for Africa doing their thing, which might have been the biggest single of all time. And that was like a whole movement to help feed third world countries. Is that movement still going? I mean, do people care anymore? What happens? You get everybody excited, you make some money, you make some videos, and it just disappear. Do you guys hear about anything like that anymore? Skinner?
What is that barking?
That's my dog upstairs.
I'm like,
sorry.
it's not me.
Ah, okay.
We call it a dog, Skinner. I know you've been sick a while.
I'm
Yeah,
thinking,
my dog
what
Igor
is
is
going
scratching.
on here?
He's scratching himself up there, so he likes to when he's
Well, I
scratching.
was doing the
Sorry.
scratching, but that was the dog
Yeah.
barking.
Yeah, sorry about that, folks. Yep.
As far as these shows and things that you're talking about, a lot of people started to second guess where the money was actually going. I think is what a lot of people became skeptical. I don't know why they would have the reason to be, but you know, I remember those the Africa story, and the "We Are the World" was one of those songs. You know, Farm Aid is another one that comes to mind. All these, I haven't heard that they've done any of these in many years, and I wish I knew why.
Right. And you know what? You make a really good point, because I think the whole point about all that stuff is pick a subject, get those together who are empowered to make a change, and unite people. Like
Right.
they said, somebody said, I forget who it was. Was it Mellencamp? Some other people? Willie Nelson? Hey, let's get some guys together and help the farmers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it was a great idea, you know? And I
It
would
was a
love
huge
to see,
success for a while.
yes, I would love to see more things like that for, hey, how about the homeless? How about the, orphans? How about veterans? You know, things like that. Just can we not get together, especially those who have the means and the power to inspire people? You don't have to change the world, change your area. Every state's got celebrities, every state's got rich people. Change your, so you know what? I'm gonna make sure that my city, my county, my state is second to none when it comes to school systems. You know, LeBron James got this big building going up down the street down here, and that's great, whatever. But you know what? The very elementary schools around the corner that you went to, you know, don't have decent books or computers or whatnot. It's really, really sad, you know. And I was at Hyde Park. This is a local park here, guys, with my church a few weeks ago. And we were feeding the homeless, passing out clothes, preaching, and it was great. And the question came to me, where are the rest of the churches? We should be running into each other out here. Where's everybody? Where's the Catholic Church with all this money? Where are the Presbyterians that care so much? Where are the this? Why aren't churches running into each other out here, feeding the homeless, getting these people off the streets? I don't understand that. Not tooting my horn because I sat on my butt long enough too. But we got to do better about each other. And those that have a platform, I told my church this Sunday, if it just takes our small group to inspire people, we're going to do it because no more sitting on their butt.
Very
I'd like
good.
to see that stuff come back again. Okay, guys. You know, that's all I got for sports and music. I do want to go back to the sports thing again, and I'd be remiss if I didn't mention, in case you guys didn't hear, Brittany Griner, WNBA star, has lost her appeal. This is really, really tragic now. I had thought in the back of my mind at some point that this girl was going to get to come home some kind of way, even if it was through some kind of prisoner exchange, something. She lost her appeal, facing 9 years in a Russian prison. I can't even imagine how horrific this is. Certainly don't want to judge, but she needs to be home, and I just really feel for her and her family. So, all right. How about some pop
Absolutely.
culture?
Well, I'm not the kind to kiss and tell, but I've been seen with fire up. I've never been with anything less than a 9. So fine, I've been on fire with Sally Field, gone fast with a girl named Bo, but somehow they just don't end up as mine.
Okay, guys. So some pop culture stuff here. Why don't we start out with some GenX media recommendations? So if you guys watched or heard or read anything that you wish to recommend to our viewers on Boss Code and YouTube, or listeners on podcast. Keith, what do you got? You got something here?
Yes, I do. And speaking of boss code, I just got to say, guys, a wish of mine that I have been dreaming about for years came true last Saturday. Thank you, Des the Reason. I have been wanting to be in a Des the Reason video, and my dream came true last Saturday. Not only was that awesome, but the song is phenomenal. I'm not going to tell you what it is, but it is one of the best songs I've heard all year. So thank you, Des, and I can't wait for the video to come out.
Very good. I was going to say the McRib already came out.
Right.
Bring it back, baby. Bring it back. Okay, other than the McRib, first of all, my man Skinner, I just want to say thank you for finally watching Sweet Girl with Jason Momoa on Netflix.
Uh-huh.
Excellent movie. Watch that. I'm sure Skinner will back me up on that. But The Peripheral, it is a series just started on Amazon Prime 2 weeks ago. You know the lady when you see her face. If I say her name, it's not going to say much, but she's been in a few things. She's a cute young girl, and she's been in quite a few things. But it's on Amazon Prime. Chloe Grace, and I'm telling you, it's a combination of sci-fi. She was in Kick-Ass. She was the girl in Kick-Ass. If you've seen that,
yeah.
one. Yeah,
Yeah.
and The Equalizer, yeah, just phenomenal. But great show, great effects, intense story, nice stuff. So really good. Dude, we got to talk about the ending of She-Hulk.
Mm. Yeah.
Yeah, we got to bring that up sometime. But that's my recommendation. Check out The Peripheral. Brand new. The technology is amazing. The effects are amazing. The story's been amazing. 2 episodes in so far.
Well, She-Hulk's been out for a couple of weeks, Keith. So what did you think of the? What do you think of the ending?
We haven't been on the show.
Oh yeah, so that's fine.
I got to tell you, I was really disgusted with the whole thing. When it first started, I thought it was great. The story getting set up, it was great. Got kind of boring. Then they had a pretty good episode. I was like, okay, this is better. Then they had about 3 episodes where like, what? And then, of course, there was an episode towards the end where I was the best episode ever. Daredevil showed up. It was just phenomenal. I thought that was just the best episode, and it was just going to take off from there, and it just went like this to me. And it's like, you know what? When I thought about it, I say, I don't mind them taking liberties with these characters and going a different direction, whatever. But when you take a beloved character like that is that popular, that well-known, your first time out, be true to the story. Nobody wants to see her at a wedding. They want to see her bashing heads in, you know? Nobody wants to see her doing all this stupid stuff, you know? You turned Abomination into a joke. Can you at least come out first with something a little bit true to the comic book? So I was just disgusted with the whole thing. The Daredevil episode was phenomenal, and I thought it was just going to get better from there. And it went from there and went like this. Like, are you serious? This is how we're going to end this? So I was really, really disappointed.
Yeah, we talked about that on the Convincing Idiots too. They really, okay. Yeah, but it's hard to. It's fine they did this, but it's hard now to take the character more serious. Now that she's going to come back, and
yes,
yeah, she's going to be his love interest, Daredevil's love interest in the new Daredevil series. It seems, and that's fine. But is that going to be
silly?
I mean, Daredevil's not silly. Daredevil's more serious.
Thank you, very serious.
So
as serious
if you try
as
to change. Yeah, if you try to change Daredevil and make it something different to accommodate
people will riot.
You're right. You're right.
Riot, yeah, Daredevil ain't no joke.
You're right. Yeah, it was odd. You're right. The finale, Keith, because they on She-Hulk, they started to tell the story, as you know, and then she paused it, and then literally broke out of the Disney Plus screen, where you pick your show and all that, and went down and talked to the writer. I don't know. It was a little too breaking the fourth wall-ish in some respects. But
I'm already upset over Thor: Love and Thunder, and then you come do this, man. I mean, Marvel, we've been praising you guys for years now. Get it together.
Yeah, I like the Kevin Feige joke. I liked it. It was a robot.
Yeah,
I did
kind of
cool. Like that.
That was cool.
And then when they introduced Scar at the end, Hulk's son, it was like 10 seconds. Just like, boom. Oh, by the way, this is Scar.
And what you got him looking like? I mean, come on, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm sort of with him, sort of on the fence with it.
And the Hulk's been gone since the beginning. How you bringing him at the end now, making it the cliffhanger? How is Hulk and Scar the cliffhanger? They've been gone since episode 1. I don't understand that.
Yep. Okay. Anything else, Keith?
No, just those 2 things right there I wanted to talk about.
Okay. Skinner, anything you recommend, sir?
We watching a show on Apple TV called Shantaram. The guy that plays Jax Teller on Sons of Anarchy. Hang on, Charlie Hunnam is his name. Hunnam plays a ex-convict, breaks out of jail and moves to, I think it's India, and becomes a Western medicine healer. where he goes into this area, poor area, and he becomes their doctor. And
Okay.
Yeah, he
It's
was the guy
about-
that played King Arthur.
yeah,
And
he's played in a
Sons of Anarchy.
yeah, he's plays Jax Teller in Sons of Anarchy, and he's been in a couple others. Pacific Rim, he was in as well. But it's a pretty good show. It's got a lot of backstories that they're showing. With there's 4 episodes in, I think they drop every Wednesday now. But it's a really intriguing show. You get to see a lot of good stuff. As far as if you've never been to a third world country, other than what you see on TV, they're pretty good about showing you, the shock value of
It looks
how
good.
people actually live. And there's also one other show that we watched 2 seasons on Netflix. It's called Dead to Me. Kind of a quirky comedy show. Christina Applegate is the lead on this one. James Marsden is in it as well. She's a realtor, and her husband.
Also, the name of your divorce files they put on
right.
what they stamp on them.
You're dead to me.
Dead to me, right? But she, her husband was on a hit and run accident, and the lady. I don't want to give any spoilers, but the individuals that are involved in this become into a plot. They've killed each other's spouses. I'll just leave it at that.
Okay.
And it kept our interest. It's not you got to absolutely see this, but if you're looking for a quick view, they're half hour segments, about 10 shows each, worth a shot. And then one other one I'm revisiting, and Marcy's never seen. It's called The Mentalist. I don't know if you've ever seen that show on CBS.
That's what's on my divorce files.
Yeah,
The Mentalist.
The Mentalist, 7 seasons. I forgot how good the guy.
Never watched it.
It's phenomenal. I didn't realize there were 7 seasons, so I think I've missed 1 or 2.
Sounded interesting. The premise. I'm gonna check it out one day.
But yeah, we watched the pilot episode last night, and Marcy's hooked on the first episode, so I'm excited to watch that again.
Cool. All right.
Okay. Very good. I will not give any spoilers, but I finished the first, I don't know if it's the first season or what, but The Patient on Hulu with Steve Carell. I watched the last episode of that
Good. It's good.
this week. Yeah, you just have to see it. I mean, it's just high drama, well acted, and I'll just the ending will leave you whatever. It's just great.
I'm a big Steve Carell guy. Did either of you guys watch Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power? They just
I
finished
have
last
not.
week.
Never
Nope.
seen the movies, so I have not
Oh
seen
my
any
god!
of the
And you give me crap about Raiders of the Lost Ark? Do not speak to me the rest of the show. Go ahead, finish.
I'm also current with Andor on Disney Plus, the Star Wars.
Yes.
I am really enjoying this.
Love it.
It's its own story, and again, it's I don't know, man. It's just well acted. It's shot beautifully, and
You saw the season finale, right?
I've not yet.
Okay.
So
yeah, I love every minute of it.
Yeah, it's just so good. It's just I love the fact it just gives you the backstory of.
Yep.
It's believable in many respects.
When you think about the movie Rogue One, watching this kind of lets you know what was happening to get to. It's really great. I think
I need to watch
when you get a backstory like that.
I need to watch this show when nothing else is going on because I keep putting it on when my mind is occupied elsewhere.
No,
so I
can't. Nope.
I
Pay
keep
attention.
I keep hitting rewind, and I'm like, you know what? I got to watch this.
Yeah,
I've watched the first 3 episodes. Perfect. The last 2 I've had to rewind twice now. I'm just going to stop and watch it when I'm not doing anything else.
Yeah, it's not a background show to have on to sort of half pay attention. I mean, it's the visuals are fine, but no, you got to pay attention to the story. And again, it's telling the story of how a group of people trying to start a rebellion. You got to raise people. You got to cause. You got to rile up people. You got to raise money.
Secrecy is important. Lack of trust is all these factors.
Sure. And then the Empire on the other side of it, I like seeing people that it's just a job. For many of them, it's just a job. It's the way that they have a career, sort of like in the military, and they're not really necessarily thinking about what they're doing. But yeah, it's just very, very good. So you're going to go check out Andor. And I am also enjoying the final episodes of The Walking Dead. I watched The Walking Dead as a season 11. So the final episodes are airing now. They started back up a couple weeks ago. 11 seasons. That show's been on the air. I watched episode 1 of that and got sucked into that immediately. I love zombie stuff anyway. And that show's taken all kinds of different twists and turns with cast members coming and going, and you get invested in somebody and you get killed. It's just been quite the ride all this time. So it's an interesting final season. Go ahead.
I was going to say, I did watch The Walking Dead yesterday.
Okay.
They lost to the Eagles 33-13. So
yeah. Certainly another form of The Walking Dead with the Steelers. I agree with you. Absolutely. That's a couple things that I watched that I recommend. So Walking Dead, The Patient for sure. Go check that out. And of course, Andor.
Very cool.
On Disney Plus. Yes, indeed. All right. So some pop culture news here, guys. We did have a couple passings. We should mention here, actor Leslie Jordan passed away on October 24th. He was 67. Poor man died in a car crash.
Young, yeah.
Yeah, he was young. He was known for Will and Grace and a few other things, Hearts of Fire, a lot of different shows. And one thing he did is he sort of made a little resurgence during the pandemic. His social media blew up. He was making all these like fun, heartfelt, little nice videos and stuff like that. So I don't know. He was just a funny guy, good actor. So definitely rest in peace, Leslie Jordan. So Keith, thoughts on Mr. Jordan?
Yeah. There are people who know how to be funny, and there are people who are just funny. He was just funny. Of course, his size played into it, and of course that voice, and he knew how to milk it. He was I think he got real prominent in Will and Grace, if I'm not mistaken, where he got some. But everything he was in, he just brought that hilariousness to it. There were some shows that came out that lasted a season. I remember he was in. There was this one show that was at an elderly folks' home. I can't remember it. But he was just hysterical with that voice, the way he talked, and he was always a troublemaker. So he found his niche and he milked it. So really sorry, man. He died at such a young age. Really sorry to hear that.
Yeah, absolutely. Skinner, are you aware of Leslie Jordan?
Oh, yeah. I got to know him in Will and Grace. I didn't watch Will and Grace when it first came out. I revisited it after in the rerun section. And I tell you what, he was funny as can be in that show. And yeah, it was pretty. I guess that he's in that Mayim Bialik show. This is Cat or something like that on Fox.
Yeah, yes.
I've not been able to watch that show, but I guess he's pretty. Nothing. I heard he's pretty funny in that show as well, though.
There's an American Horror Story as well for a few seasons. I didn't realize that on FX. So
yes, I saw American Horror Story 2 yesterday. They lost to the Eagles, 33-13. Yeah.
There you go. Yeah, there you go. It writes itself.
I'm telling it.
Right.
Yep.
I'm just spitballing here, folks. It's just coming to me. Okay.
Yep. Okay, so this next person that passed away is definitely someone that we are aware of, certainly in our generation and many others. Passed away recently at age 87. Jules Bass. So he was a animator, producer, director, composer, and if the last name sounds familiar, you're probably thinking correctly. And the Rankin-Bass, all those wonderful holiday animated specials that we watched for many, many years. Rudolph and Frosty and Santa Claus is Coming to Town and Year Without a Santa Claus and all that stuff. Rankin and Bass made those, and those aired every year that we grew up, and they still air. And I own a lot of those these days, but just a tremendous talent. Those two guys together were great partners, and the animation at the time, that stop motion animation, it was done very well.
So good.
The music was terrific, the voice acting, and I think we talked about this in other podcasts as well. It was just a part of Christmas. That's it. When those specials are there, it is part. They help create a part of holiday traditions for our generation, and again, those after and even before us. But I know I introduced those to Peyton growing up, and again, just a nice warm feeling. You know what I'm saying, to watch those things. And I didn't realize as well. You talked about The Hobbit on the prequel show. They also made the animated version of The Hobbit back in 1980. I didn't realize that was a Rankin-Bass thing. I used to watch that thing on Movie Channel over and over again back in its time, the old Hobbit animated thing. But anyway, so rest in peace, Jules Bass. So, Keith, any thoughts on Mr. Bass, the Rankin-Bass specials, and the work that they did?
That stop claymation thing would go far. I remember in the early days, the Bible show Davy and Goliath.
Yes, that's right.
Yep, that was as good as it was going to get. They took it to another level, and man, you nailed it when you said about that feeling fish. Every Christmas, I've got to catch at least one or two of those shows.
Yep,
and it just takes me back to that awesome feeling with my sister, my nephews, my nieces, all of us in the room watching that stuff. Just so entertaining to me to this day. I still want to sing Heat Miser. I want to sing, all those songs. A Year Without a Santa Claus. I want to do all that stuff and sing all that stuff and quote all those lines. It just takes you back to just a great, great time in your life. And if you don't have that, man, get it, because these are the things that help make us who we are. You hold on to those special moments and memories. So rest in peace.
Very good. Skinner?
I can't say anymore. Those shows bring the holidays to the forefront. I introduced those shows to my kids. I hope that they introduce those same shows that I introduced them to, that they will introduce to their kids when the time comes. They don't get old.
Yep.
Claymation was way before its time back then. And, even today, I just brings a smile to my face when I watch these shows. Me and Marcy have to watch Rudolph, and we have to watch Frosty the Snowman every year. The Heat Miser is another one that we make sure that if it's on, we're going to stop what we're doing and we're going to watch it. So, rest in peace, Mr. Bass.
Absolutely. Also, by the way, I just caught this. I didn't realize they also made the Thundercats, Rankin-Bass, and the Jackson 5 animated series. I remember watching it on Saturday mornings back in the day as well. So, yeah, a lot of stuff. Okay, so Marvel Studios has been, of course, just killing it for many, many years. I mean, just, certainly more good movies than not so good movies.
You mean the word dominating?
Yes, they really have been dominating. If you step back and look at Marvel Studios versus DC, it's really not been a whole lot of comparison.
Sony.
And Sony. Oh, you're right. Sony's just. I could just go on about how terrible the Sony movies were, including Spider-Man. But just killing it, and Marvel's had a couple bad ones of late. The Eternals was not as well received, and deservedly. The last Thor was not as good and not rated as high, deservedly. But for the most part, Marvel has a plan. They have consistency. And a lot of that stems from they have a guy at the top, Kevin Feige, who's they have a person there that they trust that is a creative force and creates consistency in their product. And DC just really hasn't had that person or people that's really been able to help produce a lot of consistently good movies. They've got some good ones here and there. The last Batman was quite good. I know we all kind of like that. Maybe not the first viewing, but as we reflected on it, we enjoyed it. But a couple of my favorite things of late out of DC has been the last Suicide Squad movie and the Peacemaker series that were done by James Gunn. Now, James Gunn, you might know the name. He did the first Guardians of the Galaxy movie. He's directing the third one that'll be out next year, and he's doing the Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special that'll be out on Disney later in the month here. Which, if you haven't seen the trailer for that, go check that out. That looks like a lot of fun. So DC Studios has now hired James Gunn and Peter Safran to be co-chairs of DC Studios. So now these two gentlemen are going to own all the creative content through DC Studios, the animated stuff, movies, and everything else. So now you have two guys that I'm not as familiar with Peter Safran, but I definitely familiar, of course, with James Gunn. So, anyways, I think it's a good move for DC. You have someone there who certainly knows how to put out some good content. Maybe they'll get some more consistency now and be able to more fully compete with Marvel. DC, of course, announced that Henry Cavill is going to come back as Superman for another movie. Of course, Black Adam is out now. So, I don't know. So at the end of the day, I think it's a great move for DC to bring someone in like that who's proven that he can pull audiences into the theater. I've been watching Guardians of the Galaxy. I didn't know those characters barely at all, and just the fact it was such an entertaining movie, created that popularity. So I think it's a good move. So Keith, any thoughts on James Gunn and Peter Safran taking over DC Studios?
It's a great move for DC. Not only does James stand alone on his talent level, but he'll also be bringing what he learned from working at Marvel. So that's going to be great for them. My only problem with James Gunn coming over is just he came too late because what he's working with. I mean, you mentioned the Peacemaker series and some of this other stuff, which was fantastic. But think about it like this: if you have a stable of cars, you've got a Chevette, you've got a Equinox, and you've got a Ferrari, and then you got these mediocre race drivers, but you get a great race driver, fantastic race driver. You want to put him in your fastest car, right? Well, he didn't get to do that. Can you imagine what he'd have done if he'd have got the big DC names, just the Batman, the Superman, the names like that, especially Wonder Woman? God knows they needed him on the last Wonder Woman. So I hope he gets to get involved with some of the major characters. The last Wonder Woman was pathetic. It was a joke on itself. So I hope he gets involved with that. So this is just a great move for DC. And I did see Black Adam Sunday night. I thought The Rock did a phenomenal job in that. And, of course, they're doing the whole Marvel extra scene thing now. If you don't know, that was a great extra scene.
Okay. So recommend Black Adam, by the way? Recommend?
Yeah. Kind of a catch-22. Some of the stuff was a little too, like Doctor Strange, too demonic for my taste. But it was true to the stories in the comic because this was a demon that had given him these powers. But other than that, it was great. Man, Hawkman was great. Dr. Fate was great. Hawkman's ship was phenomenal. It was really, really good. And The Rock was just off the chain and great fighting and action. It was great.
Yeah, I think I'm going to see it in the theater. So, yeah, okay, very good.
Yeah. Okay, there's an extra scene at the end. You're going to be like, speaking of you-know-who, that's awesome.
Okay, very good. Skinner, any thoughts on James Gunn taking over DC Studios and Peter Safran?
I think it's a brilliant move. They've got to get back what they've lost over the last 15 years. So I think it's a great hire. James Gunn's got a bad taste in his mouth from Marvel to begin with, so I think he's got a bit of a chip on his shoulder to make this work. So I see it being a great move.
Yeah. Okay. Very good. Okay, another movie that's in the works, guys. Ryan Gosling is making a movie, The Fall Guy. So The Fall Guy, based on the great television series with Lee Majors. Put Lee Majors in any television show, it's probably going to be fun and entertaining.
Yes.
Fall Guy, I know I definitely watched that growing up in in high school. It was definitely a show I watched with my parents. He was a stuntman. Heather Thomas was in this thing. I had Heather Thomas Fall Guy posters.
Heather Thomas. I don't remember her.
Uh-huh.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Anyways, I was surprised they're making a Fall Guy movie. And you can find a picture out there. Brian Guy's got long hair and stuff. So
Mhm.
I don't know. So uh, it's probably going to be kind of a goofy thing, as it should be. If you try to make the Fall Guy serious, it's probably not the direction you want to take. But so a couple things. It made me reflect a little bit on. There's been a lot of movies out there based on television shows. Some were pretty good. Some not so good. So, I'd like to hear some of your most liked and disliked movies based on television shows. You don't have to do any particular number. Just do a couple, whatever comes to mind. So, Keith, what do you got? Give me some of your best and worst movies
Okay. Well, first of all, I want
based
to
on
say
TV
this.
shows.
I
Yeah.
kind of going the other way with what you said. I think you want to go maybe serious with the Fall Guy movie. I think that would be an interesting premise of a guy who's a stunt man and, he's working crimes at night and he's using, what he's learned in the stunt business to do stuff. I think that would be a good,
Okay.
more serious movie. So
Okay.
just a thought.
Okay.
It's the kind of movie that if it's good, it's going to stand on its own. You can't rely on the old show because it's not the same people and it's really, really old. So I think it'll just have to be good or bad on its own. So
I just hope Lee May just makes a cameo. He's got to make a cameo,
at
right?
least,
He has to.
exactly.
He has
Yeah,
to.
yeah. Please
Yeah.
do that. Show some respect.
Yeah.
Okay, so I got my first list of the ones that I hate.
Mm-hmm.
That the ones that were shows I love and I hate the movies.
Go ahead.
Just a couple I want to name. 21 Jump Street. I thought that was like the
Oh.
coolest show when it came out. And the movie I thought was just utterly stupid. I was so disappointed. Oh, that really hurt me. And of course, a show we all loved growing up, and I thought the movies were just dumb. I just don't think there's enough material there for a movie, and that's the Addams Family.
Oh.
Yeah, just didn't get it, man. So now I want to talk about shows that I didn't like, and of course the movies are my favorite. I never watched the A-Team, but I thought the movie was cool.
Yep.
I like the A-Team movie.
Yep.
And of course this is low-hanging fruit, guys, but let's just face it. We love the shows, we love the movies. Batman is probably one of the biggest show to movies out there. And this was kind of interesting. I like the show, and I like the first movie because they went so silly and campy with it on purpose that it was great. Charlie's Angels.
Yep.
And of course, I did not watch the show. It was a little bit before my time, but loved the movies. Mission Impossible, I think. Those movies are just phenomenal, every last one of them. And can't get enough of them. And I got to tell you guys, show I didn't watch. It was so freaking huge when it came out. I never watched it. I don't know why. It just didn't appeal to me. But I think the movie is the most underrated movie out there in this genre. Miami Vice. If you see Miami Vice with Jamie Foxx and
oh gosh, I don't know if I ever watched it.
Colin Farrell. Oh my God, it's one of those movies where they just everything's perfect. The soundtrack, the actors, the action, everything about that movie to me is phenomenal. One of my favorite movies.
Okay. I remember the advertisement. I never saw it. I have to check that out. I kind of forgot all about it.
Dude.
I forgot it
It's got like Linkin Park in it, and the music's just phenomenal, man. It's unbelievable.
Okay.
Very deep, awesome movie, man. Very cool. Very violent. Very just cool. It's a cool guy movie.
Okay. All right, Skinner, what do you got? Some of your most and least favorite, any order you want to do it in?
Couple Gen X ones. First one that the movie's just terrible. Dukes of Hazzard.
Yeah,
absolutely terrible. We grew up watching that show with Daisy Duke, and and for them to come out with that kind of movie just was so disappointing.
Dukes of Hazzard was silly. The movie was stupid.
Yes, exactly. Another one I wasn't real thrilled with, which was Charlie's Angels. go back with you on that, Keith. The show was great, but the movies were not so good.
Yeah.
A couple good ones, I think.
I thought the first one was so campy. They were campy on purpose, but it was entertaining. Second one just got real dumb. They just really got dumb.
Another Gen X one is Beavis and Butthead.
You did not like the movie?
No, I love the movie.
Okay.
The movie was phenomenal. It came out 15 years after the fact the show was on, and they did a real good job with it. Another one that was really good, Star Trek: The Next Generation. You know, the movies that came out after that show was over with. Really enjoyed it. And one last one, The Fugitive. I didn't watch.
Yeah.
I watched a little bit of the shows.
Yeah.
But the movies with
Harrison
Ford and Wesley Snipes was
great
absolutely
movies.
phenomenal. Yeah. So,
Tommy Lee Jones.
Tommy Lee Jones is another one. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, good stuff.
Okay. Yeah, very good. Okay. Some it's not so good. I had Charlie's Angels on my list as well. Wasn't so good? One that was not so good that was just came out this year that I watched was the Munsters movie by the Rob Zombie Munsters movie. Not that good. Just not that good. I did not need the backstory. Yeah,
I've heard a lot of mixed feelings on that movie. I've heard all bad.
Watch it if you're a fan, I guess. But I did not need to know the backstory of how Herman met Lily and all that stuff. It just. Not as, I don't know. I want to see more of them in the house on 1313 Mockingbird Way, not how they got there and all that stuff. That's just me. Bewitched, terrible. The Will Ferrell Bewitched movie where he played Darren. Yeah, just terrible. Not good.
Terrible.
The Baywatch movie in 2017 with The Rock. Not so good.
The worst movie I've ever seen.
That was bad.
That was bad.
It was almost so bad it was good in a way. It was like so campy, you know. I don't know, but it's definitely not one of The Rock's best.
Yes.
And the Flintstones movie from '94, it just did not translate for me the best from animated to the live action. There were some things that were clever.
It did good because it was exciting to see them live.
Yeah,
but, it could have been better. Yeah,
John Goodman was a fantastic Fred and all that stuff. I don't know. It just didn't translate that great. Some of the best ones. One of my favorites. How about the Naked Gun? The Naked Gun, 1988. Naked Gun was based on a very short-lived series, Police Squad. The Police Squad was an actual series.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
It only lasted 6 episodes and was canceled. They took a lot of the material right from the TV show into the movie. I just love that first Naked Gun movie. One of the funniest movies I ever saw, in my opinion. Go ahead, Skinner, what do you say?
I have a PSA announcement for those people in Hollywood. Do not come out with another Naked Gun. Let it go. I have no desire to see this one.
Liam Neeson is going to play Frank Drebin's son. So there you go. That's it. We'll see how it goes. I'll watch it just to see if they come even close to it, which I don't know.
Well, I'm going to have to watch it, but I'm going to be just shaking my head the entire time, probably.
Yeah. The Simpsons movie in 2007. Now this was a solid movie. It was a very good story. It was certainly like an extended Simpsons episode, but a lot of funny moments in that movie with Spider Pig and everything else. But I thought it was a great movie. I did like the Addams Family movie, the first one. The Addams Family movie, I just thought it was cool to see them on the big screen. I thought it was a nice storyline. I just thought the first one was very, very good. Now, I'm the opposite of Keith here. I did enjoy the 21 Jump Street movie. I was so surprised of how much I laughed at that movie. I thought it was hilarious. So they definitely... I know it was not at all in the same tone as the television show, and that was sort of the point, I guess. But I just cracked up. The whole scene with Ice-T, and they're in the church, and he's telling them
what movie?
I did enjoy 21 Jump Street. I thought it was hilarious.
Okay.
Yeah. So The whole thing about Korean Jesus, don't bother Korean Jesus. He was busy. There's so much of that movie. It's quotable. I
Was that
thought it was a
21
lot of
Jump
fun.
Street?
Yeah. Yep. Yep. The iced tea. Very, very good. I also enjoyed the A-Team. You mentioned A-Team already. How about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, 1990? So to take the animated series and put it up on the big screen. That first
I
movie
forgot
was
about that
solid.
one.
Yeah,
It
it
was,
definitely
yeah.
launched a whole movie franchise there. How about the SpongeBob movie in 2004 was also fantastic. That first movie, just so much fun. I remember taking Peyton in the theater to go see that. Just a great story. Again, it was just a solid story of a SpongeBob adventure, and so many
I just
more.
want to
I
say
also had
about
to
21 Jump Street.
go
My
ahead.
problem was it was such a great drama, and when I came out
Hmm.
of comedy, I was just so upset.
Yeah, I get it. You already mentioned the fugitive. Another one here I kind of forgot about the first Brady Bunch movie in 1995. I thought the premise
That
was
was good.
hilarious.
Yeah, it was
How
good.
they just took the whole family, 70s attire, 70s vibe, and just put them in the 90s,
Hmm.
and they were still acting like they did in 1970. I just thought the whole premise was
Yeah, that
hilarious,
was great.
and that was very clever. So the first one, the second one, so that went off the rails, but the first one was a lot of fun. So a lot more. Actually, I had a lot more that I remember that I liked. I thought I had more on my list that I disliked, but I definitely had more that I enjoyed when I go back and reflect on some of these movies. So yeah, so we'll see how the Fall Guy does and what list it makes of ours. I guess we'll critique that later when it
See if it
finally
starts
comes
a
out.
trend too. It might start a trend. Some of these old shows being made into movies.
Oh yeah, I'm. They don't have any. It seems like they keep running out of original ideas. So I'm
Yeah,
sure
I
we'll
thought
continue to
Miami
see
Vice
more.
would really kick that off, man. Guys got to see that movie, man. It is just so awesome. Just the way it's
Okay.
filmed, it's just really, it's dark, it's slick, it's really cool. Best soundtrack I've heard in a long time.
Yeah, I'll definitely have to go back and check that out. Okay. All right, guys. I'm looking at the time here. Okay. We were going to get into Kanye West here, guys. I think maybe we table that for next week
Oh gosh,
because of
yeah.
the length here. So we'll talk more about Kanye
We're gonna
West and
take the
stuff that he
leash
has
off
going
Skinner.
on. Yeah, just we're going to run out of time so we'll save that topic for next week. It's definitely a very prevalent pop culture news story right now. We'll talk more about that. This week in pop culture history, October 30th. Now, it's certainly well before our generation in 1938, but this was the War of the Worlds radio serial. I remember hearing about this as a kid. So Orson Welles narrated this show. So basically, they portrayed as if aliens were actually invading on this radio program, and it was so realistic that it caused a panic amongst those listening. People were convinced, based on how well this program came about, that people were going into, you mentioned, Keith, the bomb shelters and everything else. So it was quite the thing. So you never see anything like that since, and you probably will never see anything like that again. But at the time, you figure this is before televisions and everything else. People did not have a way to verify easily anything different. And they just got caught up in it. It was a special Halloween episode, H.G. Wells' War of the Worlds, and it was directed and narrated by Orson Welles. So
But I'm gonna say this:
go ahead.
I will never ever forget the morning I woke up and I turned my TV on. I thought it was that kind of thing when I saw the planes crash into the towers in New
Yeah.
York City. I
Yeah.
thought it was some kind of broadcast pretending to be real, and I was hoping that it was. I'll never forget that.
Yeah. Quite the thing. I guess in some respects now you say, you could argue that there are a lot of things that people portray as that they are fake that they believe is real because of other reasons of, fake information, all that
It's
stuff.
hard to tell now, man. We got a guy flying around with a hammer. I mean, so
Yeah. All right. And then 2001 already on November the 2nd, Monsters, Inc. debuted in the theater. Just one of my favorite kids movies. I mean, it's one of the movies I took Peyton to go see back in its time here. Now she wasn't exposed to it until she got a little older, of course, when it was out on DVD and all that. But she had Monsters toys. It was just a phenomenon. I mean, it really blew up big time. It just great movie. You know, the animation, of course, it was a Pixar thing. It was fantastic. John Goodman, Billy Crystal. Again, the voice work was terrific. It's just a very such a nice, warm feeling story with the monsters here, scaring kids and learning there's other ways that they could survive in their world with not having to scare kids for their energy and all that type of stuff. So, just one of my favorite Disney movies of all time, hands down. So, any thoughts, Keith, on Monsters Inc.?
Never seen it.
Oh man!
Are you kidding me?
Wow.
Never seen
Okay.
it. When it
Little
comes to
Serenity,
Disney
when she was younger, she called me Mike Wazowski. As a matter of fact,
2 Disney movies, man. I'm behind. I haven't seen
you pull up
Yeah.
Netflix, and we have the different accounts on Netflix, and under mine is Mike Wazowski. So pretty cool. Yeah, it is a great movie, Fish. I agree with you 100%. Probably one of the better ones that's ever come out. Truthfully, it's up there in the top 5, I think.
Absolutely. The sequel came out, I think it was 2013. That's what it was. Monsters University.
Yeah.
So I just remember taking Peyton to go see that one when she was, now a young teenager, and we enjoyed the second one a lot as well. So just a lot of nice memories with those movies.
Keith,
So
take 2 hours with Donovan and sit down in front of a television and watch
I'm sure
Monsters
he's
Inc.
seen it a million times. He's seen
He
them
probably
all.
has, and he'll watch it with you.
there
It's
you
worth
go.
it.
Yeah. All right, guys. So tons more stuff out there, and we were away for a couple of weeks here. We could keep talking here for a lot longer, I'm sure, with so many
Good
things
to be
that's
back.
happened. And yes, definitely good to be back. And so Keith, I know. First of all, any announcements or anything, Keith, that you have before we wrap up here, sir?
Not yet, man. Been slow moving on my front. Of course, I took some time off away from the music and everything to get my personal life together. So hopefully that'll be kicking back up here soon.
Okay, very good. I'll say for me, again, check me out on my other podcast, Convincing Idiots. I do with Dean and Nick, a pop culture themed podcast. I also publish every week on podcast platforms and the Brosco Media Network and YouTube. So find us out there. So, Keith, again, while we were away for 2 weeks, Aldo Skinner, he had COVID. He told us, one thing he continued to do without fail is his constant refining of his outro skills. So, Skinner, first of all, any announcements you have, and then you give me roll into your outro whenever you are ready, sir. That's been crafted another 2 weeks, please.
Yep. We just got news today that we should have grandchild number 7 here in probably 2 weeks.
Oh my!
Oh, wow.
Mama had a great visit with the doctor today. The baby has shifted and is ready to meet these wonderful grandparents that she's going to have.
Who's having a baby?
Ashley. Yes. Duh.
Tell her I want to talk to her. I didn't tell her she got a baby.
Right. Yeah, no, Jayla's going to be 11 months old when the baby's born. So all good there. Otherwise, nope, no other announcements.
Ashley's having I did not know this.
Yeah.
Not my Ashley, Marcy's Ashley.
Oh my God.
Okay.
I was like, hold on here, slow down.
Yeah, no.
Okay.
Yeah, speaking of that, Big Red,
Oh, boy.
she turned 18 years old last week.
Okay, don't do that to me, man.
Yeah, right.
Whoa. Okay.
So
okay.
my youngest biological child is now an adult. I have none under the age of 18. We do have serenity left between the two of us. So great being back. I missed you guys. I missed the show. COVID sucks. Not gonna lie. You people stay safe out there. Stay away from all those at all possible. So for Brian Fisher and Keith Porter, I'm Michael Skinner. We are GenX. We love you guys, and we will see you next time. Have a great week. And the Browns won tonight.
Take care, everybody. Nobody cares. Nobody asked you that. Porter here, aka Porterhouse from It Came From Gen X. We hope you've been enjoying the show, but please make sure you hit the like button, make sure you hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you next time.